just woke up this morning and got recommended this Diablo Immortal video. It's by JT Is All Business. Now, I looked and he hadn't done a video on Diablo Immortal in basically a week, did one on Torchlight Infinite. So I was kind of curious, is he still playing Diablo Immortal, and what's his opinion on Diablo Immortal? Right now, there seems to be quite a bit of videos about either content creators creating or talking about the state of the game. I myself have done plenty of these, so I want to hear another outside opinion here. This is another Diablo Immortal creator, outside of Aftershock, outside of my own bubble that we talk to all the time. I kind of want to see where he's at with the game as well. This is going to be very interesting for me to walk, so let's talk about it, do some commentary.
Big tip for you, Blizzard. Give all players one legendary crest every single day just for signing on.
Yep.
Only one. That's 365 a year. Not that many. Come on, you cheap bastards. What?
Okay, yeah, well, he's not wrong. I mean, 8 seconds in, I already agree.
What's going on, guys? This is JT here. This video's topic is going to be, is Diablo Immortal dead? Is this a dead game? And why haven't I been posting as much content as I normally am on Diablo Immortal? And the reason why is honestly because I feel like the game is in a tough spot as of right now, right?
Okay, so if I had to guess, I think he's feeling literally what everyone is feeling, which is we're at the end difficulty. There's nothing to do but improve your set gear and drive your arbitrary paragon level that only slightly increases your gear. So if you want to become a better character, a better player, whatever you want to call it, the only thing there is to do is to grind dungeons paragon level full stop.
You know, it's really stale in my opinion, and that's why I'm not live streaming this game on a daily basis on Twitch, because if I log on and play this game for 8 hours...
By the way, the music audio, that's not my audio, that's his audio. He has some problems with his audio sometimes, so it is a little difficult to hear him. You're not wrong.
I'm simply not having as much fun as I was. Now, does that mean that the game is dead? Does that mean that the game can't recover? And let's go ahead and get into some details. So I've played tons of Diablo 1, I've played tons of Diablo 2, I've played tons of Diablo 3, and now...
So I didn't play D1, I've only played a little bit of D2, as you guys know, and I played a lot of D3, because when I was in a call center job, where what I did was I would just take calls and do dispatching work, etc., all I did was play D3, because I worked at home sometimes, so I would sit there and play Whirlwind Barbarian and just hold down my mouse and whirlwind everyone down, just grinding stuff while I played.
I've played over basically 24 hours of Diablo 4 as well. And I'm just going to say this, Diablo Immortal, in my opinion, has better mechanics than all of the other Diablos without...
Okay, hopefully it doesn't get into talking about D4, baby. We're in D8 on that pretty hard.
The movement's better, the skill setup's better, the overall gameplay's better, the interaction's better. Pretty much everything is better in Diablo Immortal, in my personal opinion, and I absolutely know.
You know what, though? I actually agree with this. What's crazy is one of the things that really bother me in Undecember is there's no WASD movement. There is something about Diablo Immortal, and bugs aside, okay, we're talking bugs aside. Obviously, there's some bugs that haven't been addressed, etc. Immortal is actually a fairly smooth game. In terms of actual gameplay when you're playing it, it is fairly smooth, both on PC and, in my opinion, on mobile. That's just my take also, so I agree with him here.
Now, with that being said, the game is in a tough spot right now because there's literally zero in-game. Like, whenever I sign on Diablo Immortal and whenever I go run dungeons, I am not challenged, right? There's no challenge. I basically run through everything. Yes, okay, maybe you can say, well, you spent a bunch of money in this game. That's why you're running through everything. Not necessarily, right? I did not spend a bunch of money to just run over everything and have no competition. Even if you're a 100% free-to-play player.
I mean, that's kind of what we spend our money for. Like, when I spent my money to get stronger wings, I did it so the people below me I could walk through.
You can still run through every single thing in this game with no issue.
But in
right?
PvE, he's not wrong.
Climb the top ranks.
Because in PvE, like, you have to realize he's not wrong. Because, like, he might be 1,000 combat rating above Hell 5, but that only gives him the 22% damage bonus, the same as everybody else is getting to. So, I mean, in that aspect, he's not wrong. It's really the rest.
The BGs, and that's where the money comes into play, right? You spend money to be at the top rank and play with the top players in the battle.
I also, though, think, like, I did do some running with some crew that was basically all tier 3 wings, and there is a significant difference, even between my tier 2 wings, 3,000 resonance, and the people who are, like, capped out in terms of dungeon speed, etc. So while I agree with him, like, it's not, like, you don't really spend all the money just to run dungeons faster. I mean, you do actually do the content quicker.
So what this game really needs is some in-game. Now you might ask, well, JT, I'm not having fun playing Diablo Immortal anymore. Well, that's one of the reasons why, is because literally there's no in-game. You get to Paragon level 240, there's not all that much to do. And whenever you run around and actually do dungeons,
there is basically no in-game, but I think this is something we also kind of all knew. Like, we saw this I think we all saw this since like Hell 2, basically. Because every Hell difficulty had like a new piece of gear you're unlocking in sets. So all the new difficulty, like, oh, I got my ring this time. Like those difficulties were exciting. Then you get to Hell 5 and there's like nothing other than just regrind.
Whenever you get legendary drops, you're constantly gaining Paragon levels, right? Well, your gear gets outdated relatively fast. So in my head, I'm like, well, should I go run 500 Cavern of Echoes this week because it is the weekly dungeon? And the answer is simply no, not right now, because if I run Cavern of Echoes a month later, the gear is going to be that much better, right?
Okay, the legendary gear that's dropping, maybe he's referring to the legendary gear that's dropping, and that is affected by things like Magic Find, etc. from legendary gems. I will say this, though, there's a large amount of people that don't understand set gear is literally the exact same no matter what your Paragon level is. Like, a lot of people don't get this. So if you get into Hell 5 and you start farming the sets literally the second that you can get to Hell 5, or even before and get carried, like that gear will always be as good as any Paragon level you get. So the dungeons actually stay the same, but he is 100% correct if he's referring to legendary gear, and he does probably get more legendary gear than most of us because of more Magic Find. But again, the Magic Find's not really a big deal, and that's not really the point of the level.
Now, here's the thing. This is a mobile game to where other Diablos, let's say Diablo 2, when it's released, you're not really going to see any updates in the game itself, right? Now, we do have Diablo 2 Resurrected, which did come out with a little bit of tweaks here and there, but not all that much. However, in Diablo Immortal and in mobile games, at least in my past, I've played tons of games. I built my YouTube channel on mobile games, Clash of Clans and Castle Clash. And so basically one thing I've noticed is players come and go all the time, right? The game does get stale. Mobile games do get stale sometimes, but the good thing is they also update once per month. So once Blizzard finds out, hey, you know what? This is an issue we have in Diablo Immortal. It's pretty easy for them to come in and...
I'll agree that it's easy for them to do. It's not easy to convince them to get them to do it. I will say that he is 100% correct that the cadence of mobile game updates are significantly higher. So because it is a mobile game, and because they basically have to update it or it goes to the toilet instantly, we do get more updates than a normal game. I mean, we are getting updates basically every 2 weeks. I know we had the one delayed major update. We are due another major update hopefully by the end of the month, would be my opinion on it. We need a major update every month. And the major update needs to have more or less new content in it. It can't just be like, hey, here's an event that's basically just clicking the claim button, and here is, let's say, 2 pearls if you're lucky a month, and, you know, maybe a new dungeon would be nice. But, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, there's not really a whole lot of like new content.
Make massive changes, right? And that is what is going to happen in Diablo Immortal. Obviously, within, I would say, the next 3 to 4 months, we're going to see huge updates that show us in-game, give us new things to do, give us stuff that is meaningful to sign on. And that's why, honestly, I haven't been live streaming or making as much content because I haven't been enjoying it as much. Now, I'll do
So in mobile, this is what I'm noticing, is in mobile games, there is what I'm going to call like a hell week, where eventually everyone all hits this at the same time, pretty much. And then there's this week of like everyone being mad at the game or bored with the game or quitting the game. I've noticed this in almost every mobile game I've ever played. Everyone all hits this wall at sort of the same time. And I just call it like the content wall, because he's not wrong. It's always like, hey, we're out of content. There's nothing to do. And it's very often when people figure out what the end game is.
Sign on to Diablo Immortal. I would say 2 to 3 hours every single day. I get all my dailies done. I run my BGs. I still have fun doing what I'm doing, but I'm not hardcore grinding like I once was. And I've noticed that with tons of players all over. You know what I mean? In one time, I have one of the most, well, I would say one of the healthiest guilds in the game, at least on my server for sure. And I've seen a lot of players kind of do the same thing as me, right? They sign on.
Okay, he's 100% correct. So we went from like having 300 people clan, we reduced it down to a 100-person clan. And when we had 300, we even had more people that wanted to join, and we were considering doing 4th and 5th guilds just because of how many people there were. And now we're literally having problems like even getting competition against people to play against, when in terms of things like Shadow War, people won't even show up when we were Shadows. Now we're in more of those.
They play for 1, 2, 3 hours a day, and then they kind of call it quits and then move on and play another game, right? And that's also just part of mobile gaming in general. Mobile games, in my opinion, aren't meant to play like 8 to 10 hours every single day. However, Diablo since I have been playing it my whole life, that is what Diablo's all about, right?
I mean, he's 100% correct about this part as well. Like, mobile games are not designed to be playing all day. If they are designed to be played all day, they have some kind of auto system that people love to shit on. But the reality is the auto system is there so that you can play it all day and that you can make progress in these types of games that are in your pocket and with you everywhere in your work life and not actually have to be actively staring at the screen, which is why these auto systems are somewhat nice for people that are still casual but want to like pretend to be hardcore in games still. I understand what he is saying, and it is a difficult solution to acquire. I don't think Blizzard is going to be willing to add in grindable things. And to be honest, the real solution here, in my opinion, is, you know how he has his wings? Like, there's not a lot for him to do because grinding resonance isn't a real thing in this game. And if he had lower wings, he might not have welled all the way to get the max wings, and he might have just grinded the rest of the way from like 6K or something. But realistically, you don't really grind resonance. So it's like, even though I have 3K wings, and there is, 4,000 resonance of progress between me and him that I could be doing, I can't really be working on that. So when I log in, there isn't really anything I can do to work on my resonance, which is a large portion of the game. Before we even talk about how long it takes to do set items, etc., it's Diablo Immortal, and it's a Diablo game, but it's a mobile game almost in name only, other than the monetization. It's like they took the monetization for mobile games, but then the amount of time they want is, from the Diablos I've played, this one takes the longest out of all of them. So it's really confusing for me.
Like, whenever I played Diablo 2, I could sign on and play that game for 10, 12 hours a day with no issue, just straight grinding ball runs, because in my opinion, it's fun whenever you have open world drops and everybody in the game has to fight to be the first one to get those drops, right? That was always a fun adrenaline rush for me, and it gave...
I personally hate that system where you guys kill a boss and it's shared loot and then you all have to like who clicks faster. Personally, I hate that system. I like individualized.
Something to do, plus also racing for Paragon level 99, or not Paragon level 99, but level 99 was fun in Diablo 2 for me as well, just straight racing the ladder, right? I enjoy leaderboards. You know, Diablo Immortal needs things in the future, such as arena-style PvP with parties. We need more about
it. Needs seasons. Let's be honest. The game needs seasons and a redo of the way that the resonance system works. Like, the resonance system kills the game because they can't ever make content that's temporary based because of the resonance system. If they make a new season, then it's like, okay, JT starts with tier 3 wings from level 1, because they can't delete his $100,000 he spent, and they sure aren't going to delete my $3,000 I spent either, right? It's going to feel bad. So then it's like, how do you do seasons in a game like this? The real issue with the game, honestly, it's the resonance. It's the day one, you know, it's the original sin of they heavily monetized resonance, and it's impossible to grind. So there's not a reason to log on and grind it. And if you want to grind anything, you need to grind dungeons, because like he's saying, Paragon levels and Paragon gear is basically worthless to grind, as it always goes harder. So you just sit there and you grind dungeons over and over and over again. That's the only end game. I think his original point's the most correct one, where there's no end game.
We need more content that is just harder for the players to do, something to reach for, right? We need better setups with gear also. I feel like there's not enough gear that drops. It's not really quite rewarding enough. And
I'll say this, the best updates I feel like so far were the class change system, because I get to try new classes, and then the legendary gear. Like, I think every 2 weeks, we're getting 6 more of those legendary items. We really will have more builds quite quickly. When I started seeing that we're getting 6 legendary items per class, like a new helmet, new legs, and all that, those were some of the more exciting updates, and to be honest, gave me more things to do and look forward to the game than almost any other update. I would almost say the major update was the most minor of all the updates in a weird way.
Kind of stagnant. Like I said, even whenever I just get some of these new pieces of gear, like I just recently got this chest piece, which is absolutely insane. However, in 2 weeks from now, this is going to be replaced with no issue, right? So that doesn't really...
That's the issue with the Paragon leveling system. It needs to have a cap at like 300 or something. I don't even have a good way to solve this. I can't really suggest like, okay, we need to fix it by doing this, because I don't know how to fix this. The whole game's based around this fact that the higher Paragon level, the higher gear, and it's a problem only at the end game.
Really give me the motivation to just go out and farm a bunch of gear, knowing it's going to be replaced as I level up my Paragon level, right? Like I said, we need in-game in Diablo Immortal. In my opinion, I feel like this game is nowhere even close to being dead.
And here's the other thing. This right here, like this Paragon level, leveling, increasing the gear, would have actually been a good mechanic if it didn't go down to like 10% and then 0% experience. Because once you hit Hell 5, if they just release the experience cap where you can just go and go and go and people can go as high Paragon as they want, then first of all, there's a reason to climb experience because you're no longer capped. And there's a reason to actually go for more legendary gear because you can go more than just 10 over the server. Right now, everyone's like dog leashed to the server Paragon. So you only are ever going to get like, oh, I got 5 more plus stats on my gear than you do because I have 12 more than the server Paragon, which is the world cap or whatever it is. It's not really an exciting system because of that.
Actually, I don't think that. I know it's nowhere even close to being dead. We do have server mergers and then transfers coming soon. That's one big issue within the game is a lot of servers just are stagnant, right? They are dead and they are.
He's right about the game not being dead anytime soon. Like the game is still being updated. It's still being advertised. Like veterans are getting annoyed, but the game's not dead.
There's not all that many players on multiple servers all around. I mean, there's like hundreds of servers in this game, right? Which is completely not necessary. So when they merge these servers together and servers are highly populated, the game is going to be obviously a lot better because it's going to be a lot healthier on all the servers, and those markets aren't going to be so stagnant as well. Like
I think
even the
server merges are going to help things like the clan system, but I don't think it changes the problem with the game, which is why it's like I haven't been like, oh, we really need merges. I mean, I mentioned it a couple times, but it's not like it's going to save the game because think of it this way, right? Like if the game started day one and we were all in game, we all would have been bored the game a lot earlier, but there would have been all the players. Like it doesn't save the problem with the in game having more people. What it does is make the Immortal and Shadow system more exciting because there's more competition. So it gives us more ways to ignore the problem of the in game. But the merges doesn't fix the infrastructure problem we have in the game.
My server, like you cannot find a blood-soaked jade, for example, where in the past you could find them. Yeah, you were still paying max price at all times, but at least there were some in the market. As you can see right now, if you want to buy a blood-soaked jade, you're going to have to pay 100,000 freaking platinum, which is insane, right? So I would say
these numbers are still cheaper than my
if you're
server.
a player that's thinking like, man, should I just give up Diablo Immortal? In my opinion, I would say no. Play it. Sign on for an hour a day or do whatever you have the most fun with. However, I do know in the future this game is going to be absolutely amazing, especially when some of these major updates do come, when they start adding more battlegrounds, when they start adding more in-game content. So yeah, I'm going to be keeping up with the game. I'm still having fun with the game. I want to know y'all's opinion. What do you guys think? Do y'all think Diablo Immortal is dying out? Do y'all think it can be recovered?
I think dying just means it has less players than it did yesterday, and I think that is probably factually true. I don't think that means it's a dead game, and I don't think that means it's on life support or whatever meme metaphor we want to use. I would say that I think it has lost some players due to the in-game problems that have been laid out in this video.
I'm just curious to know what you guys say. It is a pretty hot topic, especially in my Discord. We're constantly just speaking of what the game needs, what they need to do. And in the future, in the near future, we're going to be seeing some pretty big updates, including, I believe, new classes, which is going to be pretty sweet. But still, we need some in-game stuff for...
He must know something I do not know about new classes.
Or players to just get out there and... have fun with. Anyway, guys, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I am definitely curious, and have a wonderful week. Peace out.
If my dog Mila catches this frisbee, you have to subscribe.
Oh boy.
Are you ready, baby? Don't let daddy down, baby.
Catch your dog.
Woo!
All
Don't
right.
forget to hit that bell as well.
You got me. Fair enough. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. Like, basically, the game is stale, I think is the word for it. I think I'm going to start using the word stale because it's not like dead or dying. Like the game is fairly stale at the moment. He's not wrong. There is not as much in-game, and it would be nice to have some more in-game. I'm not quite sure in what capacity that could look like, in which it's not going to be non-repetitive and we're just going to blow through it. I think no matter any content they make, we're going to be using quicker than they can develop. So we're pretty much always going to have a version of the game in which there's nothing to do. And I think that's kind of what's depressing people. This is par for the course, though. As far as mobile games go, this is not that far off like how the development of games go. They always start a little rough. People always get bored right about this point, and then they slowly make the game better. So I'm kind of with JT on this one. I don't think it's a dead game. I think players are leaving at the moment, and it's in a depressing state. It's not a dead game. It will be updated and continually get better. But anyway, what did you guys think of his video? I'll leave a pinned comment description to the video down below. It'll be in the pinned description, comments, all that stuff. Go subscribe to JT. See you on the next video.